welcome to this afternoon session. For the first presentation, we have Ms. Olivene Thomas. I tried harder to say that. Ms. Olivene Thomas. Right. Okay. And her topic is entitled Organizational Analysis and Assessment, a new tool for university transformation. And this paper is written jointly with Dr. Clement Branch. All right, so the presenter, Ms. Thomas, she spends most of her life in the human resource development graduate programs at the UWI in the Department of Sociology, Psychology, and Social Work. She's the administrative officer there, as well as the assistant coordinator, as well as a student. So I suppose she's there 24 hours per day. But when she's not at the unit, she's preoccupied with strategizing to make the unit well. She apart from doing that, she writes poetry and short stories and project documents. She loves listening to jazz. I suppose she tries to play. We can't say how good or bad that is. We probably have to listen. She has pets, dogs, and those animals that she treasures. And when she's not doing all of those things, if you have a minute with her, she'll talk about life in general. So this afternoon we welcome Ms. Thomas, and we look forward to a very stimulating presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Okay, I say good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. The size of the group is a little intimidating, but I'll do my best. All right, my presentation will be a simple one. The paper does say that it is co-written with Clement Branch, but I am the voice of the administrative team, so I'm also representing Doreen Valentine and Sophia Wellington. So this will be a simple talk. I will give a case overview, then discuss some of the issues, talk about some points of future research if this is supposed to work, and give some concluding remarks. So the organization under scrutiny here is a small unit within a large department within a global university. I'm not calling any names. But what is important is that if you look at that setup, one of the issues that comes up for you will be powerlessness, and you'll see why that is important later. But despite the size of the unit, it is staffed by a group of very creative, inventive, supportive, innovative, competitive, superlative set of people. And the project that I'm describing, it had its genesis in 2015 when the unit started to celebrate its 20th anniversary. And what we did that year, we went all out. We had several activities, and one of them was thought out by the administrator, who thought, why can't we blend the programs that we have to come up with a product that would show people the type of work that we're doing. So we teach human resource development, and as you know, if you know that discipline, the students come out with some tangible skills that they can offer to the world of work. We also have a PhD program in organizational behavior, and here again, the students come out with some tangible deliverables that they can offer. It's not just research, they have some tangible practical skills. And we married those and came up with something that we call the assessment center. The assessment center, it gave, what we did it at the university's research day. So persons who know what that is, it's a large expo. All departments are showcasing the research that they do. As I said, we just started the PhD OB, so we weren't showcasing research. What we were doing is showcasing the type of work that we could offer to the workplace. So we were doing things like giving some short courses, course demonstrations, and demonstrating the fact that we can do, in the PhD OB, we've learned to do psychometric testing. Now, Gareth Lips, who is sitting in the room here, is the person who is responsible for that. And again, that is also important to mention. So we have all of that. So the Demonstration Assessment Center turned out to be phenomenally popular. It was beyond our wildest dreams. We didn't realize that we had a product that people obviously needed. The university itself approached us, and several people from private sector came to us as well. So we did it in 2015, it was successful. We did it in 2016, it was even more successful. And of course in 2017, it blew up beyond anything that we could have imagined. So that by October 2018, we took the bold step of announcing to people that we are open for business. We are a commercial entity. We told people that. So that of course sounds good, but there are challenges. Now, one of the things, well, just some, oh dear Lord, I am looking at photos, you're not seeing anything. No, that is, it's been recorded, so wow, we're getting all of this to fluff in the recording. But all right, I have some photos. You can just look at these here. I'll turn this around. That's what I've had to do this in teaching. Just to show you, we really were popular. I mean, standing room only with members of the public. All right, and we had, but to show you, I think we were genuinely very popular. Our team, obviously, that one with Professor Lips is showing that during the presentation, the organizers of Research Day actually had to carve out extra space for us, so to create, because of the overwhelming flow of the number of people who were there. But it was standing room only. Everybody came out. This was the team that went on our first commercial operation. So we were actually paid to be somewhere and spend the day doing psychometric testing for a huge organization in Jamaica. So we commemorated it, Professor Lips and 3 of his students. So we now call it the Organizational Analysis and Assessment Center. So that is a very grand title, but it, of course, tells you our ambitions. So Monk and McConnell say that we are now in an era of a post-public era of higher education funding. So this is one of the reasons why we have an Organizational Analysis and Assessment Center. What it is, it's an intrapreneurial venture within an entrepreneurial university. Now, again, that is important. We're not going to linger too much on that because we're doing another presentation tomorrow about the entrepreneurial university and the entrepreneurial nature of this. Today, we're just looking at the role of the administrators there. But it's important to define what an entrepreneurial university is so that you understand the significance of what the administrative team has done. So, an entrepreneurial university delivers higher education content and performs scientific and other activities based on funding from diversified sources. That is just a simple definition. A more sophisticated one shows that what the entrepreneurial university wants to do is to find financial autonomy. It wants to move beyond scholarship money, and that's to get the alumni to give money back and all that sort of thing. So we're looking at something that is trying to inspire the people around it. And the university, of course, would want to receive a significant portion of its funding from non-governmental sources. It wants to expand its services, the service provision beyond traditional course delivery. It wants to generate and transfer knowledge through courses and interventions. It wants to provide leadership for the wider creation of entrepreneurial thinking within the society that it works. It wants to promote actions, institutions, entrepreneurial institutions within the general society, and it wants to catalyze economic development. And if you think about that, we're doing all of that, yet we're not, I don't want to say we're not doing it well, but the truth is we still have a way to go in doing that. And what we're seeing is that contemporary academics, the university still looks to its academics for innovation and moving the place forward and that sort of thing. However, I don't know how many of you have stopped to think about the fact that the gap between the training and the kinds of people who go into academia and those who remain in administration is shrinking. There's actually no difference between many of them. We actually do, at the institution that I am looking at, have administrators who have PhDs. We have administrators who have more master's degrees, multiple master's degrees, more than some of the lecturers who are teaching. So the kinds of people who are doing administrative work is changing. It's changing at a good time, because it is changing at the time when the circumstances in which they have to work is also changing. So we have that. Now, we're looking at major sources of funding because the OAAC is what we feel could become a very major source of funding. So all right, so we've talked already about what you needed to get for your, now why the OAAC? Now, to know about entrepreneurial work, to know about commercialization of the activities of a university. The university that I know about is already doing some of that. This is not completely out of left field. But where the OAAC is different is that it is an administrator-driven entity. So it was conceptualized by the administrator. It was the work to build it, to make it something, is being implemented by the administrator and a team of other administrators. These people market it. They found financing as the seed of the venture and financing to keep it going. They've staffed it. The contribution of the lecturers is that they're the ones who are hired by the administrators if the job that the administrators have managed to find for this entity happens to involve talent that the academics can. If not, then they hire other administrators. So they are the ones who are doing everything. These are persons who the university would not look to normally to solve its financial problems. And as I suggest, remember I told you the word powerlessness. Don't hold on to it, but just remember it. I told you powerlessness because if you think about it, well, if you know the situation, there are some embedded challenges which are put in the way of people. I'm prepared to say unwittingly, but there are some challenges, which is why, even though I want to give this to you as a template, there needs to be change. So we move into what I'm saying beyond the OAAC. We would like to offer this as a template. The institution that I'm talking about, it has over 19,000 students. It has 5,000 members of staff. Now, as I said to you, the members of staff are highly intelligent, highly motivated, highly skilled people. They are people who are being wasted, I would say. They're being wasted. And in this day and age, there is no organization at all that can afford to waste its resources. The other thing I'd like you to remember, is that the wealth of an organization in this day and age, it is not in the buildings that it owns. It is not in the equipment that it can bring to the table in delivering its products and services. As I'm telling you, we are human resource development. We know that your wealth is now in the human resources that you can call to solve your problems. The agility of the minds of these people, the creativity that they bring to the table when they have things to do. And again, we want to, so those are the factors that they're bringing to the table. All right, so we're trying for productivity. Now, these people would be productive if there is a proper ethos. But when Clement Branch and I were discussing this last week, he told me that one of the reasons that we're having challenges is the same reason that socialism failed. You're asking people to be productive, but then you don't give them any incentive to drive that productivity. So what we found is that in this situation, university has asked people to be productive. It has asked them to bring ideas to the table. It has asked them to do things to advance the cause of the university. But there are some embedded ways of being. There are some policies. There are, so the thing is bureaucratic. There are lots of challenges. And one of the things, the most important thing, is that in the matter of the financing, this is supposed to be something that will be bringing in additional money to the university. And we're being told at the same time that bring it in and we'll take it away from you. There is a financial code that reminds us in very unkind language that the money that you bring in, even though something like this would be discretionary effort. Remember, there's nobody here who is being paid to set up a consultancy within a department, within a unit within a department. But even though your discretionary effort will not be rewarded, your money will be seized, it will be used to pay bills that are not yours, and you will have to fend for yourself to pay your bills, of course. But, and beyond that, even if you brought superlative entrepreneurial talent to the table, the university's hiring policy will say that you cannot lead this. We have to appoint somebody new because this goes against our hiring policies. So there are things there that you ask yourself, why would I bother? Why would I bother to do something like this? I have 5 minutes. But no. As I said, this is something about which I'm very passionate. So I could talk for another hour about this. Because, you see, as I said, I recognize, in HR, we recognize the trends early. So we recognize the change in the people that you're working with. They want to be motivated. They want to be creative. They want to do all these things. And so we're saying that this effort speaks to that directly because it is solving universities' problems. At the same time, you're actually bringing out some of the innate talent in the people that you have. So this is the sort of thing. So we're offering this to you as a template for action. So we've spoken briefly about the facilitating factors and the challenges that you might encounter. So for some areas of future research, in looking at the challenges, it brings to mind some questions that we feel that the university needs to attend to if it wants to do something like this, or any institution that wants to bring something like this out. You have to, for us, there's a major ethical issue because you are looking at, as I said, discretionary effort. Discretionary effort brings up all sorts of things in people. One of the things we identified was to what extent is the leadership culpable of not doing its job if it is not providing an ethos for people to be inspired to bring their best to work. That is something. So you're not doing your job as the university's leadership if you're not helping me to be my best on the job. Because let's face it, I'm accepting a salary, so you would tell me that you want me to bring my best. So there is that. There is also another thing of, if I know that I can do more, and I refuse to do it, I don't do it for whatever reason, there is also that as an ethical issue. So that is something else that the university would need to look at. Or it's something else that has to be researched. There is also the matter, I'm going to use the word employee temptation, but there is also the issue of organizational trust. If you end up with a situation where employees behave in a way that the organization may not be happy with, because they feel that they are protecting themselves against the organization, you have a problem. So I'm not talking about I'm not talking about anybody subverting anything, I'm not talking about theft. But if you have people who are trying to make alternative arrangements for funding, to where if we earn money, we don't want it to go to the bursary, you have a problem. You have a serious problem. And that is something else. So we're looking at issues of organizational trust as something else that people might want to bring to the table. We're looking at things like functional maverickism. That's something else that must be studied. Functional maverickism is when you have somebody who dares to think beyond the status quo, who is independent in thought and refuses to bow to the organizational politics. So that also needs to be studied. Because, and we say functional maverickism, as I said, we're not talking about people subverting in the bushes and carrying the organization down. But for you to have innovators, you need to have mavericks. So that is something else that the organization needs to look at. We also want to look at agentic values, the values of the agents who work in the organization. I'm here to talk, why would I bother, I asked earlier? Because I feel I have a duty to do so. And I feel that it is in my personal interest to demonstrate my courage. The only thing I'll clip off at the end is my video that I made to show you, but I'll just leave that up. And we're looking at things like organizational governance. We're looking at how the question of organizational governance and what induces organizations to grow. We're looking at the fitness for purpose of that sort of thing. We're looking at the role of self-efficacy in the people who work in organizations. So we're looking there, that's all sorts of things that we can look at for organizational research for the future. So I'm just going to conclude by saying that if you look at management, literature in management, it shows that people, knowledge workers, and in higher education in general, not only universities, in community colleges, whatever, higher knowledge workers of today, they want to be autonomous. They want to develop themselves. They want to be able to express themselves positively within organizations. Nobody wants to come to work every day and rant. You want to come to work and build something, because those kinds of persons are at the realm of people wanting to leave legacies. They're not just people who are there for pay. They want to leave something for the future they want to build. And so I'm saying that the organization needs to get rid of some of the issues that it has in order to unleash that. And I'm saying that, honestly, if we can do it without resources, because it really was done without resources, then any organization can do it. And so I'm offering it to you as a template. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Indeed, very, very interesting discussion, and it's very stimulating. I will now open the floor for discussion. 5 minutes. I will take questions.
Just from your...
I'm trying to film it, so if you could...
Okay, from your experience,
Yes,
you're talking about...
You could just give us your name.
Okay, sorry, I'm Rudolph Sewell, Michael University College, MP admin. And I'm really interested in the question of mindset and so on. But I want to go to a practical solution. What are your thoughts on what I call a proportional benefit? Individual versus to units, to institution, as a way to go.
All right, I did not speak about it, but I don't know if you saw, I had a bonus innovation scheme as one of the practical solutions for this. Now, I was looking at it, I thought of it as something that we could offer, but then when thinking more about knowledge workers, it will work only to a certain extent. Knowledge workers are not really driven by the money, but you have to take money off the table as an issue for them to really unleash the creativity that they have. So the bonus innovation scheme was to incentivize persons to bring ideas to the table that would bring glory to the university, that would save the university significant money, or that would bring money into the university. But of course, it will be outside of their regular thing. So if a professor wins a Nobel Prize, that is clearly not something that you would expect that. On the other hand, if Olivene Thomas as an administrator were to get the Nobel Prize in literature, that is something that would make global news. As secretary got the Nobel Prize in literature, that would be something great. And obviously, I would expect to be compensated for that, or I'm going to UTech, you know what I mean? So that sort of thing. So we have a bonus innovation scheme, but as I said, for the type of worker that we're talking about, it will only be a first step. The real thing for them would be for them to have autonomy. Now, in this case that I'm describing, the autonomy was not for anybody, because I can tell you that the persons who are pushing the psychometric testing portion, which we had thought would be the really big thing, have decided they're not taking personal compensation. So they're going to be working to do psychometric tests and not receive any personal benefit from it. What they would do is that, so the institution, the unit, becomes their personal charity. And that was actually one of the things we were looking at, making the OAAC a charity. So a member of staff would own it, set it up as a limited liability company outside, and the university or the unit. And that again, it's not the university that is that's the charity, it's the unit. Because we're also arguing that since it is discretionary work, we should be treated as any other donor. So if you're NCB or something, and you tell university, I'm giving money to be spent for X, then why is it that because I happen to work for the university and I'm saying it's discretionary effort, I'm not taking any money to do something that is in my personal time, why am I not being treated with the same courtesies as NCB or Scotia or Chase Fund? So those are issues that are being discussed. But it's only a first step. It is really to have people be autonomous for how they spend their time, when they do something discretionary, who benefits, that sort of thing. Those are the things that will drive the incentives for these persons.
Okay, thank you. We have time for a couple more short questions. Anybody else?
I'm fascinated by the whole experience and the reality based on where we all are in terms of functional, I call it functional tensions. So universities or other places, you set up units. So a unit that can push the envelope and, in other words, be non-traditional. But at the same time, the challenges and everything, the organization puts it back. So the question is, how are you working through to get buying or sponsors from the key persons, right? Because you spoke like agency model. Where are you getting the sponsorship from in the larger governance structure of the university to still have things done? In other words, the existing policies, the existing bureaucracy is holding you back, but how are you still able to function within the broader setting?
All right. One of the things that we've done, obviously not spoken about in the paper, is to develop an advisory board. The advisory board incorporates people from the university, people from public and private sector, people whose words will carry some sway, who are well known and that sort of thing. So we have that as one thing. And of course, we have pointed out to the university the errors of its ways. So the principal, pointed out to him, what are you doing? We could be doing more, but we have no incentive to do so. And he said, I'm aware of that, and we are changing. That's what he said, but we have to wait to see it. And again, I didn't mention, it said 2018. This is something that started in October 2018. So this is still early days yet. This is still in the early days.
We have one more question. We'll take one more question.
This lady is
sorry.
Well, my question was really about sponsorship for the venture, but you just answered.
okay.
And how the committees, a committee or it was committee?
It's three administrators it's three administrators, three high-level administrators, two senior admin assistants, and an admin officer. who are doing this. There are no full-time academics in the unit. And again, that may be something that is a little unusual, because the fact that there are no full-time academics, it meant that the administrators who work there they have a little more leeway. They are expected to be a little more responsible for what happens and that sort of thing. But of course, you do realize that they could just sit back and say, my job is to collect student scripts, make sure that the classroom is cool, make sure, but nobody, no. The thing is, the administrators must reframe what they're doing. So my job, I've never seen my job as being somebody to organize students' grades. My job in organizing students' grades, what's the purpose of that? So my job in organizing students' grades is to help to improve the workforce of Jamaica. So we're improving the organizations will improve the economy will reclaim the society. So it's not just seeing yourself as somebody who turns up at the beginning of the class, make sure that the lecturer is comfortable, that the PowerPoint is working. No, that's not what the job is. What is the reason for doing all of that? And once you can sort that out, then you begin to think beyond the box for how I can meet those goals in a new way. So that is what we're actually doing.
Ms. Thomas, sorry, follow-up question. So we can actually recruit you as part of
I'll be very, very, very honest with you. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary next year, the January 2020 to January 2021. And after that, I think I'll have done my 20 years with the unit, and I will be looking for a new job. So yeah. I'm very serious about that. Because again, you have to keep your mind. You have to keep your mind. So it's there's I love the unit. I love the unit. I mean, beyond all. I mean, maybe only my dogs, but I love the unit beyond all. But it would be time. It would be time to move on, because I think I would have given it everything. Because our 20th anniversary, our 25th anniversary, I'm leaving nothing on the table. I'm giving it all. So after that, I think it would be time for my next challenge.
Okay, Ms. Thomas, thank you.